Yeah, so listening to this was a completely new concept to me. I didn't know this was a thing.
Hey, welcome to the Free Refills podcast, where we talk about the realities of leading in youth ministry. We hope that you leave refreshed, refueled, and re-energized to carry out the work in your ministry. My name is Wayne Morgan, and I'm here with Johnny Radcliffe, and it's good to see you, Johnny, but what's going on behind you? There is a picture behind you that just, it's out of, it's a little different.
Hold on, let me bring it close here.
Oh my word. Like, it's kind of creepy and kind of
I'm
cool at the
glad
same
you
time.
asked. Wow. No one ever asks about that, and it's definitely there. So for those who are listening only, you're going to be very frustrated. You're going to be like, I don't even know what he's talking about. But this is a picture that a student painted for me,
Okay.
and they made an advertisement like, "Hey, I do portraits," and I was like, "I want a portrait, but make me look like a Civil War soldier."
Oh, show me that one more time. Like,
So that's what came out.
oh my goodness. Yeah.
I think he crushed it.
All
So
right. Yeah, for
that,
sure.
that is with me forever. So,
You look tough. You look
you
real tough.
know, yep, I look like I'm just, taking artillery head on. That's the look I got there.
General Radcliffe. Maybe that's what you should be known for from here on out. So
Is this a career change? Is this
it could be.
happening, Wayne? Is
Yeah.
that what we're doing?
It's going to be tough to go through boot camp at this phase in life, though.
Yeah, I'm just going to stick to ministry, I think.
Although ministry can be grueling, and that's why we do this podcast, to hopefully
It's true.
encourage people and help them keep going. So
Absolutely. Yeah, my joints are creaky, and it's because of youth ministry, not war, which some people...
one too many dodgeball games, man. One too many We should do a podcast about weird injuries in youth ministry because, man, there's several.
Listen, you mentioned dodgeball. I had the most epic moment of my life from a retreat this weekend where I made the swish for the jailbreak with like 1 minute left in the game when we were losing. It's the coolest I've ever felt in my life. I'm so glad you brought that up. I'm so glad that everyone else gets to hear it too, because there's definitely an MVP chant at the end of the game. And
if you can identify with Johnny's space, if you're on YouTube, just throw it in as a comment, and be like, "This is my shining moment in youth ministry games where I won everything. I got the W." You know.
Exactly. I've also had the moment where I pegged a kid in the face and felt terrible, but not as terrible as I should have felt. Part of me was like, "Yeah, they deserved it."
Participate, not dominate, Johnny.
Exactly.
Like,
do you know why? It's because I got that general.
Because you're the general vibes.
I mean? That's why.
Exactly. Yep. Take
I'm
hill,
just
baby.
a field commander. Speaking of hit in the face, sometimes pumpkins hit people in the face before they're ready for it.
Oh man, welcome to fall, right?
Absolutely. And I, for one, am pro early pumpkin spice.
Really?
I'm team PSL. Listen, August 15th rolls around, I see it, and I'm like, you know what? I will have one of those.
Wow. Okay.
But now at the time of this recording, we're in October, which is officially okay to have pumpkin stuff.
Yeah.
There's no one that can argue that. But it does lead to everyone's favorite game that we got from Download Youth Ministry. Thank you, DYM. The game is called Did They Pumpkin Spice It?
Oh, man. Yes.
All right.
See, I am not a pumpkin spice fan. Like, I am a guy who will try everything, and for whatever reason, pumpkin spice tastes so fake to me. Like, give me pumpkin, give me coffee, pumpkin pie and coffee, cool. You put them together, and it's like, what just happened? So
the good news is then you might be terrible at this game, and that's my hope. So 6 questions. You have to get 5 right to win. Okay, you only get 1 wrong.
What do I win? A pumpkin spice latte?
Yeah, Starbucks gift card. All right, so Wayne, we are going to go through this line by line. Are you ready? It's just the question.
I am as ready as I can be. Yep.
Did they pumpkin spice it? The first question is kale chips.
Ooh, I mean, why? I guess why wouldn't they? I mean, that's kind of that white girl thing to do, right? Classic white girl is kale chips and pumpkin spice. Like,
I don't
would
think
say
that's
yes.
a thing. I don't think they sprinkle it on top of the latte. That's not
I
No.
don't know.
Ugh.
It just feels like I know the people who drink pumpkin spice lattes that I know. I'm sorry if this is this is like typecasting people, but they
Mhm.
also eat kale chips. So I'm gonna say yes. I think that that's a smart marketing move.
You're one for one. And that's actually brilliant. Yeah, how many times I've gone through life in my Ugg boots with the PSL in one hand and a fistful of kale chips in the other. That's my norm. All right, next. Hopefully he can get two wrong in the near future. Plantain chips. The word is plantain chips. Did they
Ooh,
pumpkin spice it?
that's a different vibe. Plantain chips is definitely uh that's like a bland banana. If you are unfamiliar with plantain chips, it's like a banana that forgot to get sweetened. So
So good though. I could eat a
they
whole
are.
bag in one
Yeah.
sitting.
Um plant I'm gonna say no on plantain chips.
Dang it, Wayne. You're two for two.
Oh wow.
Gah. Next, kombucha. Is that how you say it?
Ooh.
Kombucha?
Kombucha?
Kom-
Kombucha?
kombucha?
I'm gonna say no on that because kombucha people are so
It's
purists
true.
that I would really be surprised if
Yeah.
they pumpkin spice. Although
Wow. Yeah.
the spices are natural, but like I'm gonna say no. That's weird.
Wayne, you said no.
I said no.
And they did pumpkin spice it. You are
What?
wrong. Yes. I shouldn't be
That's
cheering
so,
against you like this.
that is
This is
so
not.
gross.
I know. I can't even imagine. But
Have you had kombucha? Like it is
I
like
have. But I felt like I was drinking apple vinegar.
yeah, it just tastes like apple cider vinegar. No matter what they put into it, it just tastes like you're drinking apple cider vinegar. So
Listen, people, put nasty comments if you are defending the honor of kombucha.
yeah,
If
I know my gut health is on the line because I didn't drink it this morning. So
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, these people
mhm.
are way healthier than me, so they're the ones who are going to be laughing in another 30 years. All
Right.
right, next. So there are three more questions. Did they pumpkin spice it?
Hmm.
The next one is protein powder.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, totally hit. They've done that. Hmm.
All right, we're not going to delay it. Yeah, they did. They pumpkin spice protein powder. Yep.
Yep. I can
Next.
just see the fitness guru YouTube instructor being like, "You can get it in pumpkin spice."
Absolutely. And you know what? I would. I'd buy it. Just saying. I would
I
drink
wouldn't,
that.
but cool. I'll ship it to you.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah, no problem.
Next one. Twinkies. Did
Oh,
they pumpkin spice it?
oh man, like it feels like they did. Like it feel I like
You could
because
get
I
this wrong and lose the game.
yeah,
Like you're two
well,
questions away.
so because this is not something that I'm like looking for, I it's very possible I could lose this game. And like I mean, there is an aversion that I have towards that. So like Twinkies because Twix actually popped into my mind when you said Twinkies. I was like, no, I was thinking Twix.
You
So I
need
don't
some
eat a
more
lot of
gas
junk food.
station treats then if
I know,
that's we
man.
need
I
practice.
know.
But I live in tasty cake territory, so of course I'm not eating Twinkies. Who you kidding?
Oh, for sure, for sure. Twinkies disappeared for a little while too.
They did.
Yeah, they were
They
like bought
bought
out. I'm
out.
gonna say no on because of that because Twinkies disappeared for a little while. I'm gonna say no.
Wayne says no. We do the research. And they pumpkin spiced it. They spiced the Twinkies and tanked your game.
Oh man.
How's it feel?
It feels like I don't care because I'm not really. I feel like that kid in YouTube's like, I don't want to play this game anyways. It's
I didn't want to
stupid,
win. I love that kid. That
dumb
kid's
game.
great. I guess we could talk about real things.
This month, we are joining a conversation with the network conversations that our staff team does every month for network coordinators, just to kind of give them a little bit of resources, ideas, and things that they can do to help bolster networking or give them ideas on things that are happening around the country. And so this past month, we had a conversation about the release time or off campus religious education. And the guys that were a part of it were from Arizona. And so they brought a whole bunch of cool ideas, research, and actual, real life examples of what they are doing in Arizona to serve schools and to serve students.
Yeah, so listening to this was a completely new concept to me. I didn't know this was a thing. And every now and then you'll hear different examples of what's permissible in schools. Like for example, we always think of the on-campus clubs, right?
Yeah.
That if it's student initiated, teacher
Yep.
support, stuff like that, it's kind of like, hey, they need to supply a place for you. Great. Well, this is next level. This is
Hmm.
really next level, and
Yeah.
it's something that I didn't know was an option. And as we were discussing this pre-pod, Wayne,
Yeah.
apparently this is something you have done before, this weekday religious education.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're really interested in this, you can go to releasedtime.org, released past tense, released time, RELEASED time.org, and just start researching it. I was going to drop it at the end of the podcast, but if you're interested in this, it gives you state rules on how you can do this. And in the state of Pennsylvania, where I worked with Youth for Christ, and we had a collaboration of several churches and Youth for Christ that had students for a block of time each month. It wasn't every day. The school calendar, state laws didn't have access to students once a day like they were talking about in Arizona. But for us, it was a block of time each month that we collaborated on and worked together to and had a bus full of students come over to a church and give them do a Bible instruction with them. More than just doing youth group, but there's like a deliberate, intentional religious instruction that you can do according to, and you'd have to check your state, but it actually can help out serve the school. But one thing that I would say, and I would also see, through the conversations that we're going to listen to, you can't do this alone. I mean, even if you're a big church, even if you've got a lot of resources, it does take a tremendous amount of intention, and it takes a team of people to pull it off. And so, if you're not doing this networked with other people, you'll get exhausted pretty quickly, from our experience. So, find a network and get together with some people if this is something you feel like God's drawing you to.
That's awesome. And without further ado, we'll let you hear it straight from the sources.
Prior to the pandemic, if you looked at the stats and the polls of things that are out there, you would see that the committed person in America that says, this is my church, we're making it about 1.8, 1.9 times a month. So not even 2 times. This is before the pandemic. After the pandemic now, nobody, I'm not seeing real good stats. You can put it in the chat here. If you've seen that 1.2, 1.1, nobody wants to say 1 time a month. So if they're not coming to our churches, if and that's not to do your youth ministry with excellence and in all aspects, we want to coach to that. Then where are students? They're on a campus. They're on their local campus. So in that, we looked around. Now we're in Arizona, and so I have to put the idea of release time as something that's already been established here in Arizona because the LDS, the Mormons, build a building right next to every brand new high school. Why? Because they see the essential value of release time and being able to have that for students. So we realized it a number of years ago, and we have done a few schools, and we have are continuing to open that up. And we just wanted to share with you that process of that with these 3 areas. 1, it can't be done on school property. 2, it can't be done with school funds. And 3, it needs to have parents' approval. We had said, the LDS have been doing that. Why are we not doing it? Where are kids every day? So our pitch out there to you and to others is that, could you imagine as a youth pastor, you have 40 minutes every day of bringing Bible to your kids? We are deeply involved in FCA and Young Life and Youth Alive clubs, and which meet once a week and this kind of thing. Kids can come and go. Could you imagine every day kids walk out of their school, come over to, we use primarily churches that are right next door to schools, and they can come in for biblical education and community development. And what we're seeing that impact go back to the schools is phenomenal. If you can imagine what is happening in that. So in that, I want to introduce some of our guys who are in the trenches. I'm sort of a one that sort of tries to plow the vision here in Arizona, but they're guys that are there every day teaching. And so one is Ryan Tompkinson, and he is at Arizona Community Church, which hosts our latest one for Corona High School, which is a major high school in Tempe, Arizona. And then Dave Minster, and Dave, raise your hand. Dave is also there, and team teaches that. So in that, we've developed curriculum and all, and they get to pour into student. And then the one that's been going, been going a long time is out at Castile High School. And Hunter Jones, did you change it to Jonesy on there? Yes, thank you. Change it to Jonesy on there. He teaches every day, and that has gone to 3 classes a day now, from a handful of students to 80 to 90 kids that come to there. And so in that, how do we get that going? How does that move? And so I want to turn that over to Ryan and Dave, because they're fresh on doing this. This is brand new. It started just this year, the steps and the things that we needed to do to be able to accomplish that. And so, Ryan, I'm going to let you take it from there.
Awesome. Thanks, Bob. Yeah, so we started this pretty much last year back in October. Bob and I were at a conference at one of the colleges here, and I had talked to Bob and said, all right, Bob, let's get this done. And there were really a couple things that we needed. First and foremost, you need students. That's the big one. Obviously, all the approval in the world is great, but if students don't want to partake in it, there's not really much to be done. But we had a couple students that were really interested. And then once we got that going, Bob was absolutely relentless in meeting up with the Corona principal. So Bob, I think you sent an email every day or called the front office every day for like 2 months or something crazy like that. So Bob was absolutely relentless in making sure that we got a meeting. And like he said, it's legal, so they can't really do anything to stop it. But partnering with the school is a huge, huge help. And then because I still work as a high school director, as well as teach this class, we've had a huge community come around us, which has been fantastic. I could not do this by myself, and I have to emphasize that over and over and over again, that if you're going to be both a youth pastor and teach this class, you need to partner with other people. So having Bob help to meet with Corona, Dave and I teach together. I teach because the class is all students from our church right now. I'll teach 3 days a week. We have a separate youth pastor come in on Wednesdays just from around the community and do a devotional. And then Dave will recap on Fridays with the students. But Bob was there to help out, develop relations with the school. We have another guy who's actually taken on the responsibility of ministering to the school itself. So it's a huge community involvement. It's not just me and it's not just Bob. It does take a full team to pull this off. But like you said, 5 days a week right now, for an hour a day, we have students that come over. And we've only seen this, we're just beginning to see results after a quarter. But it is unbelievable night and day with these kids remembering what they're learning. We're seeing it translate to our youth group, where the 3 kids we have in the class right now, who were kind of backseat kids who were there, but just kind of taking part in it, are now becoming vocal and upfront leaders that are encouraging other people to come engage with the other kids. Just wins all around. It is so, so worth it. Like Bob said, if you get, like, we have a Wednesday night and a Sunday morning program. And if kids come to both of those 4 times a week, which we all know with schedules, that is not happening. But if they happen to come to both of those 4 times a week, or 4 times a month, that's 2.5 hours a week. That's what, 10 hours for the total month, versus we have 10 hours every 2 weeks, totaling 20 hours after 4 weeks of us sitting down and saying, let's break open the Bible. Let's go through scripture together. So that we do, Jonesy does things a little bit different. He has some really cool ideas that I can't wait for him to share with you. But we do things like, a couple of weeks ago, we had them dissect TikTok videos and say, look, what is biblical? What is not? How do you determine what's biblical? What are some of these factors? These things that you kind of want to get to on your Sundays and Wednesdays, but you just run out of time, or you want to make sure there's room for community and for their small groups, that the content isn't necessarily the time for it. So we've had a huge, huge, huge win. But I'll let Dave share a little bit too of what he's seeing as somebody who's partnering with us as well.
Yeah, I think, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. You just get so much more quality time with students, intentionally digging into scripture. And what I like as just somebody who came from an educational background in college, studying education, is just the structure of being able to say, we want to learn this and this and this. By the end of the semester, we want to learn this. By the end of the year, they'll learn this. I think parents love hearing that. But then also, like, we're actually running through these biblical topics with a lot of structure and regularity with the students. And like Ryan said, they're actually retaining a lot of this information because we get to see them just every single day, 5 days a week. They're at school, and then as part of that, they're coming over to participate in this Christian class. To me, it's like we have a big Christian high school in the area, but there's a lot of things that are prohibitive about it, like cost, tuition, and then also being able to get your kid to and from the school because they don't always offer transportation on busing. So like for parents who really sometimes can't send their kids to a Christian school, this is a really incredible alternative of like you can send your kid to the public school and still get a ton of Christian value out of being a part of this class. So it's been really great for that.
That's been the launch, and we can follow up on this. We know this time is short. We want to get some interaction, but then I want to transition over to one of the programs we have that's been going for a number of years. And Jonesy, you came in a couple of years ago. It was already somewhat established, and help us understand the fruition of that. What has that yielded out, and based on the great value of Rock Point Church that's invested in?
Yeah, no. So I'm kind of the trust fund kid of Release Time. I got to inherit this huge, this already established ministry. Man, Ryan and Dave are my heroes. They were able to start it. They're doing a phenomenal job. But I got to step into Rock Point Seminary as a full-time teacher. And when we started, we had about 36 youth. Now I have an update, Bob. We're actually over 100 youth across our 3 classes, which is a huge blessing. God is doing really awesome things. But yeah, I think I've messed up 1,000 times, and now I've learned 1,000 lessons, and I've been able to kind of figure out what I feel like is a good recipe for how we do Release Time. One thing, the biggest thing that I've been able to find and to notice is in seminary, you always want to strike a balance between value and enjoyment. If your class is too valuable and it's just teaching and you're just digging into the Bible all the time, your students are going to get bored and they're going to stop showing up. If it's too enjoyable and it's not valuable enough, then your students are going to feel like it's a waste of time and they're going to stop showing up. And so I found that I always want to conduct class within the tension of value and enjoyment. And whenever we're striking that tension and that balance, it goes really well.
Can you give some ideas of some of the things that have yielded out of getting together that you give back, like what your students do, just the once a month thing to teachers?
Oh, yeah. So we actually we're right across from Castile High School, and we have a big heart for the school. We've actually established as a church from leadership that Castile High School is our #1 outreach point. And so our students, we plan and we assemble staff gifts. It's usually a small trinket. Like this month we did little bottles of hand lotion, and we put a little tag on there that said, thank you for being the hands that shape the future at Rock Point Church. And every month we go over and we have students put those gifts in the teacher's mailbox. And we're able to pray over the gifts on campus, and we're able to hand them out to the faculty and everybody. And so it's been really cool because our students who go to that school end up being the hands and feet that get to continually bless that school, and we're teaching them to be missionaries on their own campus through that. So that's been an awesome opportunity we've been able to take advantage of.
Yep. And they've done it enough to where the school brings a value of what that release time is doing. So it is a time for kids to get away. They do talk about that release time being, wow, I'm not in my regular classroom and I'm in a community with other Christian kids, and they have that support and they pray. But when I've gone over there and they've taken those gifts over, we walk in, all the administration sort of knows once a month, here they come. And what are they going to bring this month? And then they are permitted to go into the staff lounge. Lots of teachers have all the little boxes, and they put that gift in and they pray over that gift that's going to go to that teacher, down to the property management people and facilities and all that. And so it is building community that helps them propel towards the passion to reach their school, be on mission to reach their school. And so it's an incredible opportunity of the balance of the classroom and the education and the community of saying, how do we put those things together with the students? Rock Brown, who is on, is my hero because Rock has launch ministry up in Boise. But the best of my knowledge, he's on the largest amount of high schools in the country. He's on 20 high school campuses with release time in Boise and surrounding areas and cities. And so when I have questions, I always lean over to Rock. Hey, Rock, can I talk to you? And it's been a great partnership. But can you speak on that? I mean, you got a curriculum as well that you guys have developed.
Yeah, well, we too. It's great to be here, and Bob, you're one of my heroes as well. So back at you. It's great to be a part of this. Great to have this conversation. we just want to get this word out about this opportunity for release time. And yeah, we've got a scope of sequence of about 8 classes that rotate. One of the carrots that we're able to dangle in front of kids is they can get college credit for some of our courses. And we use Gospel Project as well for our survey classes, Old Testament, New Testament. But then we do worldview apologetics and just a number of classes. But yeah, it's a blast, and we're here to help anybody too. We have a 7-step process that we can help you launch these release time programs. You can go to startlaunchproject.org, and we can have conversations to help you do that. This is a great starting point with it. And Bob and Jonesy and those guys are crushing it down there in Phoenix. And our goal is that we want to launch them back to their campus to make an impact on their campus and to be fruitful, to be witnesses, to serve their school. And so what we hear administrators saying that we love having your kids take this class because they come back and they add something to our school that the other students don't. And they notice that and they appreciate that. And so that is truly a value because every day they come to us, but we launch them back to be the sweet aroma of Jesus over there, and others pick up on that scent, if you will.
Hey, Johnny. So hopefully those conversations kind of were inspiring, that helped you start thinking a little bit differently and more creatively. So I have been around a release time program before. Some organizations like Child Evangelism Fellowship do it with children's ministry, but a lot of people are unfamiliar with it in the high school realm. So hopefully this starts conversations with people and as people start asking questions.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole time I was listening, I was like, this is really good inspiration. And just to dream a little bit and to think through the connections that you have and just the ways that it could possibly work in your situation. There were also some really good tidbits in this interview. Like, for example, Mormons set up close to the high school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Didn't know that. Didn't know that.
Right.
But, I mean, let's be real. Mormons are crushing it when it comes to mission and sharing and evangelism. So it's kind of like, okay, so they see the value in that. That was interesting. But the other thing, too, is when you're hearing stories of helping students see their school as missionary campuses. I mean, we've talked about it before. We've had Travis Deans on, who's made an organization out of it.
Yep.
And even just the chance to have them write thank you cards to teachers, to write little gifts into their boxes and stuff, and to really think missionally, it flips it on its head. It goes from, was youth group good? Was this a great hangout for me? To how do I serve teachers and students in my school? And so for that, I think this method could be pretty huge.
And I think all of us in youth ministry have to find a way to not make it a consumer experience. And so we see Gen Alpha, Gen Z, they want to know that their lives matter. And so even if you're not doing off-campus religious education, what you just said really needs to be what we build youth ministry around. Like, what's the purpose for you to go into next week with, and how are we working together to accomplish that? So yeah, 9-month mission trip is great. And this would just give one more area where you're, because be honest, I loved what Bob said. Unfortunately, I resonate with what Bob said. Like, average church attendance is once a month.
Yeah.
And so I get kids in youth group that come a couple times a month, and it's not like, I mean, even if you're teaching through with a gospel project or something that's a very tight scope and sequence, those kids are going to miss so much, and they don't really track with what you're doing. Whereas if you have it as a school element, then you can bring it in more with that educational mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because sometimes in youth ministry, we hear these phrases of, we got to think outside the box. We can't do youth ministry as we've always done. And the whole time I'm kind of nodding along, like, I think I agree, but then what? Right? Like, it's kind of like, then what? What is it? And this is kind of answered one of those in my mind of like, well, maybe this is one of those thinking outside the box things. And in fact, we heard that one group there went from like 36 students to 100 students.
Right.
Maybe it's something that catches fire. Maybe it's something that they really see the value and they say like, wow, this is really intentional training. Maybe you're getting curious kids who are just haven't ever had a context to explore the faith, would never walk through the church door. Maybe you're even getting kids who just want to get out of school and think it'd be better to hang out with you. I am not opposed to helping kids skip school for the name of Jesus. Amen. Amen.
Yeah, so if you're looking to start this, maybe you started the conversation and people are interested in it. The Gospel Project is one that that I've used, and I think it's a good place to start. The Bible Project is another one. They've got videos, right, Johnny?
Yeah, they do, and but they have curriculum that goes with it, and I know they're known for their book study videos, but there are actually some that are topic driven and would fit in very nicely.
And another one that is more relationally focused, but also is the basics of Christianity, is Alpha. And so it's a free film series that is, especially if you feel like the people that you're working with have no idea about Christianity, great space to start. I know that they're working on a relaunch of some of their curriculum as well. And so those are three spaces. We'll drop the links in the podcast notes. Those are three spaces that are good starting blocks for you. Get a team around you, get a resource around you that you can just collaborate with, and then show up, because students need to know who Jesus is. And in a culture that's farther and farther away from religion as a standard, if this is a space where God's opening the door for you to step onto a school campus or to partner with a school, that's at least a place to start, is with those curriculums. So Johnny, any last thoughts as we finish out this podcast today?
Nothing much more from me outside of just doing whatever you can to think outside the box and follow Jesus into the schools, and to lead people well, to really take a chance for students to think outside of just making a program run and exist. And it is exhausting, and there's a lot of manpower that goes through it, but if you were to scrap everything and say, how do we make disciples? How do we really just organize our time towards that common thread of making resilient disciples? Maybe this is one of the ways.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for listening to the Free Refills podcast. We hope that this gives you a little bit of inspiration, and that you can go into your youth ministry with thoughts that help kind of inspire new direction, or maybe just to encourage you to keep going. And so if you have any ideas on what you would like to hear from the podcast, please email us at the podcast@nnym.org. Leave a comment on the podcast. Let us know what you would like to hear in future episodes. And so we are here to help serve youth workers. And we also want you to know, if you're doing youth ministry alone, don't. Find people around you to collaborate with and network with, get coffee with. They might not see 100% theologically eye to eye with you, but they understand the desire to reach students for Jesus. So don't do ministry alone. You aren't designed to do it alone. We're here to not to own networks, but to champion them. So go ahead and grab a group of people, pray with them, and just keep them going in ministry. So my name's Wayne Morgan, here with Johnny Radcliffe. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Free Refills podcast.